Am I audible?
I can hear you fine. Yes.
Okay, okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, we have with us trailblazer, a stalwart in his own regard, Mr. Bill Corbett, alias would be Mr. Veteran Fathers. He is culminating out to be the Erin Pizzi, blessed be thy name, for men and boys in general. And as we all know, we are the pariahs of the society. Let us ask Mr. Corbett about the future course of action as we discussed earlier, which was the case. So, Mr. Corbett, welcome to our show and a very good evening from this part of the world.
Thank you for having me again. And good morning from this part of the world.
Thanks a lot, sir. It showcases that the Earth is round, not the flat Earth sort of nonsense that goes on. I mean, the time zones are already different, so that is the case. But in all seriousness, in all earnestness, uh, what is going on in America regarding men and boys' rights, and what is going to be the future course of action regarding that, sir?
Well, there's a war on men, and I've said this before. It's a global pandemic. It's happening in every nation on earth, and it's gaining strength. So when before we started our nonprofit, um, we spent a lot of time doing research, like what just asking simple questions. What's happening? Why is this occurring? Why do men continue to lose their rights? Why, especially fathers? Why do fathers continually get stripped of rights? And as we got deeper and deeper into the research, there's trends that came out of it, but the biggest trend we acknowledged, and it's been published as well by other authors, is men have advocated for their rights for um, over 100 years, and through that time, we've lost more and more rights. Okay, advocacy doesn't work. The members of academia and the researchers have shown men have lost rights. Okay, so the data is available. But then from that, they've shown where without specialized, focused, and concerted effort to stop this, it'll get worse. And it's gotten worse. So that research is out there. And it's been out there for over 30 years. Then the government got involved and started researching this. And I just published an article on Medium about a brief to Congress. It's called, here in America, it's called the NIS-4 brief. Now there's significant data irregularities in it, and I'm having mathematicians look at it, and there's indicators of malfeasance in the collection of the data. In other words, they manipulated the data. But it's a report to Congress. So I reported on that, and there's significant data in that report that was given to Congress, the United States Congress, that shows women are violent towards male children. Okay, so let's go through this again one more time. A report sanctioned and funded by the government that was briefed to the United States Congress contains irrefutable data that single mothers, women, are violent towards male children. Okay, so it was briefed to Congress. Congress knows this. Congress paid for it. It's data from Congress. It's actually everything in there should be higher than what it is. I'll let the mathematicians figure out the data manipulation, which was done intentionally to lower it, but it's still high. What did Congress do? What did the US Congress do? Not one damn thing. Okay, now let's ask another question. Why? Why didn't they do anything? Hmm. The advocacy groups are out there saying, look, your own data says this. Huh. But Congress didn't do a thing, didn't lift one finger to help children. This is about children. This is not about men. This is not about women. This is about kids, children. Our job as adults, as parents, is to protect children. Okay? Now you have the United States Congress that's got briefed this information. They have it. They paid for it. It's their data that says male children are being targeted by women. It's clear. What did they do? Nothing. Why? Let's ask the question, why? Why didn't you do anything? There's no incentive or motivation. If they did something, they'll run into a brick wall of what? Communists, Marxists. What are those communists and Marxists veiled in? What's the cover? Feminist movements. And it's in the research and data is out there. I'm not talking like some madman. I'm just using clear language so everybody understands. The research and data is out there. The feminist movement comes from the neo-Marxists. The Marxists now want what? Communism. There's your answer. U.S. Congress is communist. Because if they weren't communists, they would be like, wait, women have everything. Men ain't got shit. It's my job as a sworn, duly elected and appointed public official to make sure it's equal, and I haven't done my job. Why? You're a communist. That's it. Now let's take politics off the table. Let's do what's ethically prudent for children. Okay, let's have that discussion. That says the United States Congress doesn't care about kids, children. They don't care. They cannot say they care about all children when male children suffer the most. Let's talk about abuse victims. Okay, let's talk about DV shelters. As you well know, and this was on the last show, we have two major swim lanes. One is lawfare, which we'll discuss in a minute. The other one's DV shelters for men. In the United States, men only have two. Women have over 2,000. Let's say that again. Men only have two DV shelters. Women have over 2,000. 1,000 times more than men. 1,000 times more than men. Who suffers the most in an abusive relationship? Who suffers the most is the children. Again, the United States Congress doesn't care about kids. Don't give a damn. Because if they did, they would go, wait a minute, women have everything, men ain't got shit. Women have 2,000 DV shelters, men only got two. Who suffers the most? Kids, children. Congress now, through one act of further conveyance, with knowledge of forethought, those are two felony charges here in the United States that every single member of Congress and the U.S. House of Representatives needs to be charged in federal court, that they've intentionally conducted child abuse, neglect, and abandonment. I, as a private citizen, can get charged with that. What makes them any different? Nothing except fear. Fear. Men are governed by their fear. That's it. If men weren't afraid, think about this. If men were not afraid, U.S. Congress, U.S. Senate, and House members would be in prison. What would be? Prosecutors, United States Attorney's Office would be in prison for the unfair application of law. That's a very unique concept. Well, why aren't they in prison? Why don't you do something, Bill? Well, we aren't. Well, how many lawsuits you got going? We have several small lawsuits right now underway. Well, what about the big ones, Bill? Let me explain to you knuckleheads a little something about lawfare. Lawfare is legal warfare, okay? Elon Musk is waging lawfare. Why is he able to do that? Ask, well, how's he able to do that? Money. Money. You want us to fight for your rights as a man? Really? You do. I would. Like General Patton, a famous United States military general, was going through France. He could have taken Berlin, except for one thing. They took his gas. It's in the movie, and it's historically correct, too. He did say that to Bradley. He says, you give me gas for my tanks, and I'll take Berlin. They cut off his gas to give it to a failed military operation, market garden, because of politics. You're starting to connect the dots now. You're starting to connect the dots now. I'm General Patton. You give me gas through financial donations, I will fix America. Until America gets fixed, every other nation on the planet suffers. Here's why. And it's widely known, it's been said this way for centuries. The United States sneezes, the rest of the world catches the flu. Until we fix the courts, the judiciary, until we start putting officers of the court, judges and attorney in federal penitentiary through lawsuits, lawfare, your country won't change. You might have some obscure mental deviation of reality and facts and reason in which you do not consider logic. And you think, we can fix it here in our country. Good luck. Good luck. Not going to work. Because your country watches America. Your country won't do anything until America does it. That's the way it is. You can sit back and argue with me all you want. Good luck. Good luck. You will lose the argument. It's called historical record. That's right. It's been available for eons. So how do you fix your country? Until it starts here in America, your country won't change. Let me walk you through the simple strategic steps. We start fixing the courts in America. We start litigating. We start now have case law. Guess what your country's judiciary will start to recognize? The case laws in America. Guess what your country's case laws will now reflect? The cases in America. It happens. Look up your legal history. Study your legal history on this. How do you think you got the laws in place? Either through America or England. Where did America get theirs? From England. A lot of Americans don't want to admit it, but we basically did. We got it from England. We made them better than the way England made them, but they're still the base bedrock of our legal foundation and framework comes from England. Our founding fathers were basically from Europe. Okay? All right, now you see the construct. But then everybody watched America and how they changed and how they implemented it, and they went, that's a good idea. We're going to do that here. It worked over there. We're going to do it here. India did the same thing. How did it get adulterated? How did it get toxic? How did it get abusive? It's because America is not holding their elected officials and judiciary, the officers of the court, civilly and criminally accountable. The laws are there. The laws say we can do this. The laws say, yeah, out there. Look up a Supreme Court case, U.S. versus Lanier. U.S. versus Lanier is extremely significant. And I've talked to judges. Judges are scared to death when Americans figure this out. Scared shitless. And here's why. U.S. v. Lanier specifically said it. I think it was a unanimous ruling from SCOTUS, Supreme Court of the United States, said this. Ignorance of the law, if you're an officer of the court, ignorance of the law is not only no excuse, it's criminal. Because that's your job. That's your profession. You're an expert in that field. It's not an excuse. Okay, it's not an excuse. But here's what else it said. You have to understand how that law is being applied equally and fairly for all. And if it isn't, you go to prison. You go to prison. They're very clear about it. Now, they didn't say specifically you go to prison in their unanimous decisions, but it basically laid the groundwork where officers of the court can be held civilly and criminally accountable to the law. So let's back up a little further. Why were laws put in place? Laws were put in place to protect people, not the government. How are laws being used? They're being used to protect government, not the people. When you have that, you have communist dictatorships in place. That's the only, read your history. How does communist dictatorships take over? They take over by controlling the law and how it's applied. Shit, Bill's right again. I know I'm right all the freaking time. Not that I spent the last 7 years studying this stuff. You don't have to listen to me. Go do your own research. As a matter of fact, don't believe anything I say. I'm a madman. I'm crazy. I'm crazy. I'm insane. Go do your own research. And then when you figure out that guy that called himself a madman is actually a walking genius. And I don't mind telling you that because I put in the work. And when someone puts in the work, you have to show them that level of respect. And I'm going to demand your respect. There are people out there. Look at me and go, I don't like you. I don't like what you have to say. I don't even like the way you look. I don't care. Here's why. You're a do nothing. You're not doing nothing. Nothing. All you're being is a critic to tear apart men because you hate men. You hate the fact I figured it out. You hate the fact we were doing this because you are not doing it. That's a cluster B personality type. You're crazy. You're absolutely totally insane. Everybody that hears people say that about this beautiful foundation fighting for children, you hear them say that, get them out of your life. Don't follow them. Don't listen to them. And then look through their follower list, alienate all of them. Here's why. Peer pressure works for men. And when men realize other men aren't going to put up with your bullshit, they'll change. They'll change because they have to, or else they'll sit out there all by themselves, a castaway on an island all by themselves. Men are social creatures, just like women are. We like our social community. We like our fraternity. It keeps us healthy, lets us live longer. We like a good, firm brotherhood. But when you got toxic, abusive brothers in the brotherhood, they must be cast out, as well as everybody supporting them. Because here's how cluster B personalities work. And I've written on this and I've talked about this as well. It's nothing secret. Narcissistic personality disorders have to have flying monkeys. These are people of low emotional intelligence and low intellectual intelligence that are easily manipulated. They get their flying monkeys around them. Yeah. What he said, Bill's bad. What he said. Okay, great. Those people are flying monkeys. And that's not a derogatory term. That's a professional term out of the forensic psychology community. Again, oh, he said a bad word. Listen to that person, what they're saying, and get them out of your life. Get them out of your life. Totally alienate them. Don't listen to them. Don't invite them over to barbecues, social functions. Totally get rid of them. Here's where people, men and women of low intellectual and low emotional intelligence, go towards centers of power. They do. There's tremendous amount of research on this. They go to centers of power. Why? Because they want to be part of that community. They want to be accepted and welcomed. But men that are leaders create centers of power. Guess what happens? And I've written an article on this. When the pendulum swings the other direction, these people of low emotional and low intellectual intelligence will gravitate towards the centers of power. But they'll be way down the rung on the food chain. And the leaders will be at the tip of the spear. They will then create an atmosphere of what's called internal dissension. There's, again, more research out there on this. The internal dissenters will do what? Do everything they can to tear apart the organization because they want to be the leader. But they have no leadership skills. They have no vision, no strategic purpose and or direction. They're there to destroy. So be careful when they start coming back to the centers of power. They don't support the leaders, the ones that are in the war, that are on the field taking the hits. You now understand you have a potential to recognize and identify an internal dissenter. They must be controlled and alienated permanently. Permanently. So I firmly believe in giving everybody a second chance. Okay, they're a feminist. Now they realize I've been wrong. Okay, now I'm coming back over to the center of power. I understand Maricopa. How can I help? Tell me how I can help. They now have a concerted effort that's tenacious. In other words, they don't want to stop. Okay, there you go. That's your answers. Oh, they're black and white. Do your own, remember, I'm a madman. Do your own research. And when you come to the same conclusions I do, you're like, he ain't a madman. He might have a big mouth, but he damn sure ain't a madman. Okay. Now, let's look at what's going on in India. I read the articles. I try to stay up to speed on you. You guys are in a shitstorm, a real shitstorm. They're going to kill you off. They're going to kill off men. No doubt in my mind. No doubt in my mind. I'm watching your lawmakers. But here's where you got into trouble. Y'all elected them. Mm-hmm. You voted him in. So how do you get him out of office? I don't know. I'm torn between violent physical protests and costly litigation that's tenacious. I really am. But I also know violent physical protest does what? Kills men. So I don't support it. But I do support costly litigation that's tenacious. Okay, let's say that again. I'm choosing my words very carefully in this. Costly litigation that's tenacious. Why do you think we're waiting for our legal war chest to get built? It's costly. And it has to be tenacious. What is tenacious? What is tenacity? It can't stop. Why do I say tenacious? Okay. There's an alcohol recovery program called the 12-step process. What does it require? Requires you to be tenacious. What else does it require? Requires you to touch and be with other people in the 12-step process. You're also assigned a mentor. It establishes a brotherhood, a sisterhood of people who have also suffered, that knows the indications and the red flags that you may fall off the wagon and become a drunk again. Guess what else that moved into? Drug rehab programs to use a 12-step process. And it goes on and on and on. All we're doing is 12-step process right here. Costly litigation that's tenacious. Men are waging lawsuits one at a time. One at a time. We're fingers on a hand. One at a time. If we come together, we form a litigation fist, and now we can fight as a team. We lose, we win. It's that simple. This is just, I'm not a rocket scientist. If I can figure this out by just reading the data and research and drawing my own conclusions, and then take a look at what everybody else is doing and failing at it, and figuring out this is the only model that's going to succeed, and it will succeed globally. Here's another reason why it'll succeed globally. Name me one other organization that has a plan to put domestic violence abuse shelters for men, fathers, and children globally. Name one. I'll wait. You can't. You can't even name veteran fathers. That was your answer. One, veteran fathers. Us. This organization is the only one on the globe designed to do that. What happens? Individual organizations want to set up their own DV shelter. Now you got DV shelters not cooperating and working together. They're responsible for their own funding. They're struggling. We had one startup that had to totally go away. It ran out of money. Money. Do you understand now? We can't continue to act as fingers on a hand. We have got to set aside our egos and our tender feelings. We have to talk as men, among men, about men's issues, and make tough, selfless decisions. The decisions men are making are self-enrichment and selfish. Let me say that again. The decisions men are making globally are about self-enrichment, how they can get rich, and selfish, about your own personal problems. Guess what that causes? Generational abuse. It does. Generational abuse. And it won't stop until men realize, you know what? This is a war. This is a war that needs to be waged in the courts. There is a plan, there is a strategy, and there is an organization to do that. Yes, America has to get fixed first. And here's why. You fix America first. Let me tell you what the Indian elected officials, the Indian judiciary will do. In America, in the South, we have a term, shit a brick. Okay, does that create a visual for you? They, in India, once they see the changes in America start taking place, in India, all your elected officials and your judges and your attorneys will shit a proverbial brick. Here's why. Everything they build is based off an English model or American model. Everything being improperly applied. Guess what your smart litigators in India will start doing? Look what America fixed. We can fix that here, and here's how. They'll coordinate with our legal teams. They'll exchange knowledge between each other. They will now litigate successfully and win at a greater rate than we won in America. Why? It's a simple battlefield tactic. If you attack a fortified location, the initial forces engaged will suffer between 4 to 10 to 1 losses. The subsequent forces will suffer less. Why? Because the initial forces engaging have to overcome the fortification and fortification defenses. That's what we do in America. We help you become better men and get better laws. Okay, let's take America out of the picture. Who's going to go first? Somebody has to go first. If we correct the laws in India, do you think UK is going to pay attention? No. If we correct the laws in UK, you think India is going to pay attention? Maybe. They really don't care. Let's correct the laws in South Africa, Ghana, Uganda, Japan, Canada. Are you starting to understand now? Americans at the top of the damn pyramid. Whether you like us or not, or like me saying that or not, you have to look at things logically. If they don't get fixed here, you stand no chance of winning. You don't. You don't. If it doesn't get fixed in America first, the rest of the world will continue the generational abuse. Has to get fixed here first. and then watch your elected officials and officers of the court start shitting bricks. And we got another saying here in the South, where I'm from here in America. He was shaking like a dog passing a peach pit. That's what a judge should do on the bench. He should shake the entire time like a dog passing a peach pit, like, oh my God, I'm going to get sued. If I violate the rights of a father or act against the best interests of a child, I'm going to go to a federal penitentiary. But they're not. They sit up there, bro, they put up their feet, they look at shit and go, I dare you. Because they know nothing's going to happen to them. Man, seriously. They sit up there just chilling, and nothing going to happen to them. I'll rule against the mother. I'll rule against the father. I don't give a damn about the child because I'm making bank and I'm a millionaire. Yeah, most judges in America are millionaires. Most judges in your country are millionaires. They don't give a rat's ass about you. And if they tell you that they do, they're liars. Don't believe them. Don't listen to them. So how do you stop it? There's only one way to stop it. Put this visual image in your head. Make them so afraid they shake like a dog passing a peach pit. Think about it. You ever seen a peach pit? Seed of a peach? Got those little burrs and pricklies on it? Yeah. Feed it to a dog sometime and watch them shake. I haven't done it, but I can just imagine what it would look like. That's what judges need to do. That's what attorneys need to do. That's what police officers, who is essentially an officer of the court, that's what gals, that's what all these professionals need to realize. Oh my God, veteran fathers may sue me into abject poverty and throw me in a federal penitentiary. I better not screw up. That's the fear they need to have. Instead, fathers have that fear. What does that mean? Communism. Laws, let's say it again, laws were designed and implemented to protect the people from government, not to protect the government from people. But if you look at the communist takeovers of countries, this historical record, whether you can read it and understand it, doesn't reflect upon a historical record, reflects upon your reading comprehension level. Work on that. They use the laws to protect government, not the people. Now you know you've got communist takeover. How do you get rid of the communists? You now got to properly apply the law. Like I always say, proper administration of law. We're not looking to take anything away from women. They worked hard for their shit. Keep it. We're not going to take it away from you. We're just going to want the same thing. That's what the communists don't want. They have to keep the people down. So how do you fight a commie? Court, send them to prison. In America, it used to be legal to arrest socialists. They're serious. There's case law out there for it. Yeah. Socialists got arrested. Why? Because he tried to overthrow the government, because he tried to speak against the government. Now socialists have become very sneaky, very sneaky. They've entered into the centers of government. And people have not become so smart, they now go, I elected you and you're a socialist, which now leads to Marxism and communism. Okay? I'm going to lay it out real clean to everybody out there who's a socialist. Here's how this works. This historical record, your reading comprehension level for you not be able to recognize this is not the fault of historical record. It's just something you need to work on, your reading comprehension level. Socialists have to work with Marxists. Why? Socialists want to kill you, or Marxists will kill you. Okay, so they have to work with Marxists. Why do the Marxists involve communists? Because they understand politics. They also understand the proper rules and functions of a communist government. So they involve communists. Once the communists take over, what happens? They'll kill the Marxists and socialists. That's the first people they go out to slaughter because they only want communists. Who's the next people to get attacked? The wealthy. They will kidnap and ransom and hold the wealthy people. They'll strip them of all their wealth and all their belongings under the guise of they're going to distribute it back to the people. Yeah, never happens. They keep it. Then the people get mad and want to have a revolt, but because the Marxists, who were police officers in the military, are now controlled by the communists, they slaughter the people. You can't vote your way out of communism. You can't do it. It's impossible. Look at historical record. Again, if you don't understand what's a historical record, that's a reading comprehension thing. You need to work on your reading comprehension level. Okay? Now, how do you fix this when they skulk into the centers of government? You got to sue them before they take over. You have to sue them in abject poverty and put them in a prison. Sue them in abject poverty, and through criminal suits, indications of crimes will come in that now can, work its way over to the criminal side of the house, in which now they're looking at indictment, conviction, and sentencing. That's how it works. But no one's using that model except us. Well, Bill, why haven't you waged a big lawsuit yet? Why haven't you waged a big lawsuit yet? Think. I'm General Patton. I have tanks with no gas in them. Give me gas, I'll take Berlin. Give me gas, I'll bankrupt the state. Then I'll bankrupt another state. Then I'll bankrupt another state. Then I'll keep going because I got gas. But you don't want to give me gas. You only want to give you gas for a failed military operation, Market Garden. Think about this military analogy over and over and over again. I'm General Patton. I got a mouth. I'm brilliant. We have a tactic and strategy that works, and we could fix this stuff, but nobody refuses. Nobody agrees to support us on the level we need that support. Why? Because it will work. And they're afraid of success. Men have a defeatist personality. We've been beat down like bitches for so damn long. Why? Why? Because we've been told that's our walk in life. No, it's not. We've been told that, but it's not. There's no man out there that should feel he should be denigrated to the level of a serf. How toxic is that? But who's telling us that? Leaders in government, leaders in industry, leaders in business. Why? Because they need serfs. They do. They need them. I always say this. Here it is again. Another piece of wisdom. Abusers need victims. Abusers need victims. When they have a need for a victim, they have to maintain the victim. Men are being maintained as victims because men refuse to fight logically and sensibly. Okay. So we're being maintained as a victim. Once men are removed as victims, who are these abusers going to target? There's only one left. Children. And they have already started. Why? Because men don't have rights. Men by nature are protectors, guardians of the universe. That's us. That's men. It's in our DNA. We see a child being aggressed. Men, good, logical, sane men, will jump to help that child. Child's drowning. Men jumps in the water. Even though the man doesn't know how to swim, he'll jump in there and try to save that child. He'll drown doing it. Women won't. It's not in their DNA. It's not in their genetic makeup. So why aren't men fighting for children? Because we've been told and we've been beat down for so long. But now you got big mouths like me at the point of the spear. I've received death threats. I've been called a pedophile. I've been told I'm starting a cult. Every mean, evil, toxic, vile thing has happened to me. Not to you, to me. I'm in the front. You don't have to go through the abuse I go through. You're not strong enough. Stay in the back. I need troops. Help get my tanks some gas, and I'll fix things. Or you can be recognized as an abuser if you're not supporting this. So I just did a podcast with Mustafa. Okay. Everybody complains. I'm going to shift topics. Everybody complains there's grifters out there in the MRA, FRA movement. There are. But how do you identify a grifter? We have a tool that allows everybody on the planet to identify grifters. Okay. It's on the web. It's right now on the web. Let me click on it, make sure it's still up and running. I'm sure it is. I checked it this morning. Doing a quick refresh here. Both of them are still up and running right now. I got 2 grifter detectors. Quantifiably and absolutely the most perfect tool on the internet to detect and validate the fact that person's a grifter. You ready for this? Here it comes. I'll put the links in chat for those of y'all out there in chat. Here's the first link right here. Here's first official grifter detector. There it is right there. It's going in chat. There's the first one. Here comes the second one. Put them in chat right now. Copy and paste them real quick. Okay. They're up there. 100% accurate grifter detector. Here's the second one right here. But Bill, those are the donation links. Oh, those are the donation links to your war chest, gas for my tanks, and to the DV shelter. Yeah. Grifters have a self-enrichment model. They don't give a fuck about you or kids. They only want money in their pocket. Oh, but I'm not a grifter. Go to these links and see if their name's on there as a donor. If it's not, they're a grifter. That's how you can tell. Hell, they can even donate $10. It's not hard. Click. I'm not a grifter. Here's $100. Boom. Enter. But done. My name's on the list. But they won't, because it's all about them, their own self-interest, and their own self-enrichment. And you people are supporting them. You're supporting abusers. Quit it. Act like logical men. Behave like logical men who are sick of this shit. Now, I've been accused. Okay, here's another one for you. Well, Bill, you're just there because you're going to make hundreds of thousands of dollars as the executive officer of a nonprofit. That's a bold-faced lie. You're hearing that from a liar. And I'm calling them a liar to their face. They are a liar. All right, now what do? Like I said before, alienate them, cast them out on an island, ignore them, go through their follower list, ignore and block everyone on their follower list, because those followers are believing their lies. Again, men and women with low EQ, low IQ believe and are easily manipulated. All right, now here's where I'm going to go at American men. American men are the most easily manipulated men on the planet. Yeah, we are. We're gullible and stupid. By and large, American men are very gullible and stupid. I didn't realize that was true when I was a young man traveling the world, doing business, being in the military, until I started having other countries tease me about it. I would get mad. Like, we're not gullible. Yeah, you are. You believe what's in the news. This was back in the 90s, early 2000s, and I started listening. First, I got mad. Then I started listening, like, what if they're right? And then I started figuring out, holy shit, we are. I wrote an article. It's up on my Medium account. I'll put my Medium in there. Y'all can go read all this research. It has yet to been professionally challenged, which means it still stands as a definitive watermark. Okay? No professional challenge to any of these Medium research articles. None of them. Okay? Here we go. We'll put this one in here too. Here's another chat link. Go read them. Go read them. The research is out there. Okay? American men are the most easily manipulated men on the planet because we're gullible. We forgot how to think and how to reason logically. And here's why. Americans, and it's true, Americans think because we're born American and therefore by natural birth we're American citizens, we're inoculated. We take an injection that we're immune from Marxism, communism, and socialism. No. If anything, it makes us more susceptible to it. Why? Because of free speech. Yeah. Do I want to get rid of free speech? Hell no. That's crazy talk. I believe all this should be brought out and all of it should be talked about. None of it should be subverted. But where it creates a complication is when our government started using the media outlets as propaganda outlets for their communist narrative and people believed it. That's where American men are easily manipulated because we don't have a high EQ, we don't have a high IQ, and we can't do logical reasoning. It's called critical thought theory. We can't think critically. And not only that, but why not challenge your government? What's wrong with that? I mean, really, what's wrong with challenging judges? What's wrong with challenging attorneys? Why do they retaliate against those that challenge us? Yeah. Why do judges retaliate? Why do attorneys retaliate? Why do law enforcement retaliate? Why do officers of the court retaliate? Because they're in a mutual conspiracy to conduct a cover-up. That's the only reason. It's the only reason. If a judge makes an unfair ruling, what's wrong with the judge saying, you know what, I need to correct my ruling? Nothing. He can do that. But he refuses to. Instead, what they say is you can file an appeal. More money, more money, more money. A crime cartel. More money, more money, more money. Crime cartel. You can file an appeal. Tens of thousands of dollars. The United States, if a father files an appeal based on his divorce ruling, it's a 90% loss rate. You might as well pile the money in the front yard and set it on fire and sit back and have a cigar. Yeah. Instead of getting it to an attorney of the courts. In other words, we don't have the rights that enable us fair administration of justice. Why? Because men are scared. We're chicken. We are. Only the strong men will speak up and do what we're doing. Only the strong men will do this. Weak men won't because they don't want the conflict. They just want to be left alone. They want to go back in their cave. They're weak. They're beat up. They've been abused. They're victims. That's why. When you break out of that victimization, that defeatist mentality, you now realize you got to become a warrior. You have to. You have no other option. And you have to fight. Or else your children will suffer from your cowardice. That's what this comes down to. A yellow streak up your back a mile wide. You're yellow. That's what it comes down to. If you weren't afraid, you'd fight. We have nothing to lose. We've already lost it. The judge that ruled so heavily against me would have been better off to put a bullet in my forehead and blow my brains out. Instead, what did he do? He created the most lethal weapon against unlawful judges, attorneys, and officers of the court that could have ever been created on the face of this planet. I have a daughter. I don't have to worry about her rights. I'm here fighting for your sons. I'm here fighting for you. Her rights are guaranteed and protected. She's got a ton of laws specifically written to protect her. Boys in her peer group, in her second grade class, ain't got jack. Ain't got a damn thing. We got to fight. There's no other way around it. They have pushed us too far. If there's any questions, let's get some questions. Q&A session going. Let's start asking.
Sir, it is just that we are pressing hard on time, but certainly I want this to continue and I want to track the status of the litigations that would be going on, regardless of the fact whether it is a minor litigation or a major litigation, a class action lawsuit or an individual public interest litigation. I don't care. I want to see lawfare. I want to learn from it. I want to exchange our experiences between the two countries and the experiential occupational hazards that we always come across while dealing with the legal institutions. That is in itself a travesty. But what message would you like to give to MRAs across the world who also want to start regarding the legal lawfare from your own end, and what would be the message to men and boys in general, because these are very pressing times that we are living in, and I'm sure that a stalwart of your stature would be able to deliver justice to its to something which, as a novice, I wouldn't dare to actually do. So please, sir, floor is yours.
Sure. There's two strategies you could deploy. You can do it yourself. It's going to be costly and relatively ineffective. Or you can set up an affiliate office wherever you live on the globe of veteran fathers. You back into our marketing, back into our branding, back into our bylaws, and you set it up in your own country, your own state. Much more cost effective, quicker to do. That's with your choices. You can do it yourself. Good luck. Or you can back into everything we built. Much quicker, much more effective, much more and very prudent to do it that way. But I'm not going to tell you what to do. You make your own decisions. You're an adult. The other aspect of saving and sharing the knowledge of what works in what country is critical. This is where I keep saying we're behaving this way. We need to come together as a lawfare fist. We have to do that continuously. Bill, we're doing this here in India. Bill, we're doing this in UK. Bill, we're doing this in Canada. Why? It defines legal strategies that work in those countries that may also work in another country. Legal geniuses are out there. America doesn't have all of them. They're out there in other parts of the world. But everything comes back to the stem root of American law. If America changes laws in the family court, child custody procedures, it will ripple throughout the world. But if you defeat that similar law in your country, that information is very valuable about how you were able to do that in America. And what we do in America is very valuable, and we'll share that as it becomes available. It has to be a team effort. And I'm not talking about just here in America. I'm talking about globally. We have to unite on this globally. We don't have a choice anymore. We don't have the luxury of time anymore either. Time is our enemy. We have to work, and we have to be effective, and we have to be aggressive.
On that very note, for future conversations, guys, please like, share, and subscribe. And here I have given some of the particulars, details regarding Mr. Veteran Father, his Medium account, his 501, which is a charitable not for profit organization's account, and the men's shelter that he is running, Daddy's House account. And guys, please, please, for heaven's sake, donate. And just like what feminists used to do once, educate, organize, agitate. We have to educate, elevate, deracinate, and help each other, because nobody else would. So under these pressing times, which is a real war scenario at the home front, where family system is broken, where communities are broken, where the entire civilization is in peril, please try to help a ray of hope called Veteran Fathers Foundation. And please do help people. Now, some might say that helping is of no use because we have done that before. Well, the thing is, we as men also do need some sort of community and backup, a sense of brotherhood, to help one another. And that is exactly what we are looking towards. So on that note, I would have to end the stream. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching, and please do stay tuned for more updates and more conversations with Mr. Veteran Fathers, Mr. Corbett, and many of the MRAs from across the world who would be joining us very soon. It is just a matter of time that we come together as a collaboration. Thanks. Thank you all.
Thank you.